Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to Van Winden's nursery, and a big welcome back to Aileen. She is a manager at Van Winden's. You've all probably seen her on my channel before. She has the most knowledge about basically everything, right?
Yeah.
And today we're gonna learn even more from her. And actually today I'm a little bit uncomfortable with this topic, I'll be honest. We're talking about bare root fruit trees. It's obviously bare root fruit tree season here at Van Winden's, but you know, I've inherited an orchard at my own property, but I know nothing about it.
All right.
So,
I hear you saying you're worried, but this is my favorite topic.
is it?
So...
Oh, I love that. Eileen's getting excited. Tell me a little bit about bare roots. First of all, like, why bare roots?
Why bare root?
Why not just come and buy a beautiful tree that's filled with leaves?
Sure. So remember how we were talking about bare root roses a couple weeks ago?
Bare root
A lot of the
better.
same thing goes for this. So what you want is a big, happy root system.
Okay.
That's going to give you success in the
wow.
long run. Let me show you. Look at that giant root system. So if you buy a fruit tree in, say, a 5-gallon pot that has a diameter of, say, 10 inches, you have to cut off those roots to fit it in.
Okay. And
so,
that tree's not going to be as happy as it would be with this.
Exactly. You want as big of a root system as you can get, pretty much.
Okay. So when you sell this, say a customer comes in and buys this, do they take it home? Like, is there a bag that goes over it?
Yeah, so here at Van Winden's, we do things like the old-fashioned way and a really good way.
Okay.
So we actually wrap these roots in wet newspaper and then brown paper and twine.
Oh, I love
and
it.
I don't know if you're a fan of like Harry Potter, but it's like buying your broomstick.
Am I a fan of Harry Potter?
Yeah.
It's on repeat at our house. I have an 8 and 10-year-old.
So
how fun.
People are always worried, like, oh, I can't fit a tree in my car. And you can fit this in like almost any car.
Yeah.
Just like you put your passenger seat back and it fits in so easy.
Yeah, absolutely. And then how quick do you want to get something like this into the ground?
So we'll wrap it up for you, and you can leave it wrapped for a day, maybe 2. But if it's going to be longer, heel it into the ground or get it planted as soon as possible.
Okay. So the size of the root system is probably the biggest benefit. Do the trees like it better when they're planted in dormancy? Does that make a difference?
Yeah, it's easier on the tree. And the other thing about planting bare root is you're going to kind of get to choose the future of your tree in a different sort of way.
Oh.
So a lot of people like fruit trees where they don't have to get on a ladder to get their fruits.
Yep.
And this is the best way to start that process.
You can keep it low.
Because, yeah, this has a bunch of buds that will wake up. If you were to take this tree home, let's see, this is a Indian-free peach. Peaches really appreciate a pruning style with a lot of light in the middle, kind of an open vase is what it's called. You could potentially cut this tree right about there, which is called knee-highing, right?
Oh my.
And that's, you know, you got to trust me on this one because that's pretty severe, but you will get branches coming out of all of these buds here.
So the vase is starting lower down.
The vase is starting lower down because right now we have what's called a central leader, which for a peach is not exactly ideal. You can do it that way, but it's not really the best practice.
Okay. Is that just because everything gets too bunched up in the middle with central leaders?
You don't get as much sun on the fruit.
Got it. So what do you all sell here? You sell peaches. I know you sell plums. I know you have a bunch of berries that we're going to go look at in a little bit.
Yeah, berries.
They look incredible. What else do you guys have?
Apples, apricots, cherries, apriums, pears, peaches, nectarines, plums, pluots, all the designer hybrids like pluaries, plum cherries. Nectoplums, which sound kind of weird, but let me tell you, like that's the delicious fruit. Like that is the very exciting stuff.
Because it's taking the best of the best and kind of putting it together. Yeah. How fun.
Plus persimmons, walnuts. We've got some trees where it's like 4 varieties of peach grafted all onto the same tree.
How fun.
So if you need a fruit tree for a small space, we can talk about that too.
Right. Yeah. Kind of like a Frankenstein tree. Yeah. To get the biggest bang for your buck.
Like a magical fairy godmother tree.
Oh, there we go. That's a better way to put it. Exactly. So let's talk about fruit trees for small spaces, because not all of us have orchards that we can throw fruit trees in. How, like, say you take one of these home, and I know you said you could prune it, but are there like smaller, I know there's like dwarf lemon trees and stuff like that. Are there dwarf trees?
Yeah, so there are something called ultra dwarf peaches and nectarines. And those are trees that will give you full-size fruit, but the tree only grows about 5 feet tall.
Oh my goodness. Oh, how
They also
fun.
put on an amazing show of flowers in the springtime.
Oh my, pretty. She was actually showing me some pictures inside. I'll put them on the screen right now. And they're art. They're
Yeah,
they're
they
a
can be
tree that you would
absolutely
buy for an ornamental tree.
Or like a specimen on top of a mound.
Right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be beautiful? And then you get the benefit of later on in the season, you actually get the fruit.
Exactly.
So how fun. So what about Espalier trees?
Sure, how fun is that?
It's, oh, I just love it so much.
So you could take some of these trees, usually it would be an apple or a pear because they grow at the rate that is conducive to espalier.
Okay.
And you could espalier it yourself, or you do one tier each year essentially.
Okay.
We also have multiple budded espaliers where it starts with 2 tiers right off the bat, or maybe 3 tiers.
Okay.
And those are also fun because we get it budded with like 6 different types of apples.
Oh my goodness. How it's like a farmer's market in your backyard.
Yeah.
I actually I want to do an espalier apple on one of my fences.
Oh, that'd be so pretty.
Wouldn't that be amazing? I just got to get a better fence that can handle that.
Yep.
I don't want the fence toppling over. How fun. And then I've also seen espaliers that are like we were talking about a restaurant that's here in Napa called Farmstead, and they have a wall of espaliered apples. They've made it into a wall, which is just the most wonderful thing.
Yeah.
And then you were telling me about the arches.
Oh yeah, I've been to some really fun places around Napa where they have like basically a tunnel you walk through, and it's just pomegranates. So you're walking underneath the fruit, and it's magic.
It's just incredible.
Yeah.
So those all start basically with this. Is that
Yeah,
right?
this is where you want to start. Like you can start bigger. There are pros to that too, but there's also cons. But the saying in the nursery world is bare root is best.
Bare root is best. Yeah, for roses and for fruit trees. And this is the season for it. That's why we're talking about it now. That's why I kind of rushed to get out here over to Napa so that we could take a look at this and see what is in, because not a lot of people think about going to the garden center in January or February, but this is the time to get these things. You kind of got to think ahead a little bit. And that was a hard concept for myself as a new gardener, but I think it's really, really important to put the time in for the future. You're going to be happier in the long run, right?
Yep, you got to plan for it.
Okay, Aileen, this is a sea of sticks is what I see, which I understand that they're bare roots and they're going to develop into something incredibly beautiful and tasty. But if I was to come here, how do I know like which one to pick? How do I know which stick to take home?
Sure. Think about what kind of fruit you want to eat.
Okay.
A lot of people love peaches.
Peaches, delicious. Yep.
So most peaches don't need a pollinizer. Some fruit trees do though. They'll need 2 different types of a pear or an apple to make fruit. The pollen has to cross.
Okay. So when you have those specific trees, you need actually 2 of them or 2 different kinds.
You need 2 different trees, yeah.
Okay.
So it's not like you would need 2 of the same pear or 2 of the same apple. You would need 2 different varieties.
Okay. And would it say that on the tag, or would we?
It always says that on the tag, yeah.
Okay.
These tags here have all the information you need.
Okay. All right. So say I wanted a peach. What would you?
Have you ever heard of a donut peach?
I might have at like a really fancy farmer's market.
Yeah,
I might have.
Fancy farmers markets have. They're short and squat. They're shaped like a donut.
Oh, fun.
They're usually like just like a sugar bomb in the best sort of way.
That's the best kind.
Can I grab one and show you?
Yes, please.
All right, give me a second. So this is a type of donut-shaped peach called Swaze Swirl.
Okay.
One of the benefits of this peach is that it actually fruits really early in the season.
Ooh, fun.
So if you were to plant like maybe a couple fruit trees, this
Yeah.
one would just start off your fruit season. And we have like lists here at Van Winden's of like if you wanted to plant 4 trees and you had the room for it,
Yeah.
you could actually get fruit May through October.
Oh my God.
How fun is that?
Imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine pies all season long or jams all season long?
Because it can be a problem unless you're like a professional jam maker, having all your fruit trees fruit at once. That's like work all of a sudden. It shouldn't be work, it should be fun.
Right. Okay, so I would take this home. It would get wrapped up in the newspaper, like you said, and then does this one need a pear? Does this one need a pollinator?
Says it is self-fruitful and only needs 450 hours of chill.
Okay.
Which
Talk to
here
me
in
about-
Napa, well, chill hours It's more complicated than you'd want it to be, but it's
Okay.
kind of like a culmination of hours under 45 degrees.
Okay.
And there's more rules to calculating that, but in Napa, we regularly get about 1,000 hours of chill in the wintertime.
Okay.
And I'm guessing where you are, you get even more because you're a little farther
little
away
bit.
from the
Yep.
water.
Mm-hmm.
So all the trees we sell work perfectly fine in Napa. It's the people who have trouble coming from like Benicia Vallejo.
Yes.
They have less chill hour, and
Yeah.
some of our trees have too many chill hours for them to actually get fruit.
So Benicia Vallejo is kind of in the middle of some waterways, so they don't get as much freezing time or below 45 degrees time.
Yeah.
Okay, so chill hours is something that you have to pay attention to, especially if you live around here, California. But I guess that's a really great thing. Coming here, you know, you're going to get one that works for you.
Yeah, if you
Right?
shop at a nursery close to you, in theory, the person who bought the fruit trees or brought in the fruit trees knows your chill hours is going to set you up for success.
That's great. How would you find your chill hours? Could you just look online like your zone?
It used to be really easy.
Yeah.
Usually if you have an ag commissioner, they'll tell you. If you have a farm advisor in your area, they should know. Sometimes the master gardeners know.
Yeah.
It's not as common knowledge as it used to be, though.
It's not. Yeah. I've tried it before with blueberries, and it was kind of hard to find the information.
Yeah.
I ended up finding it, but it took me.
Yeah, you
it
had to
took
dig
me
a
some
bit.
time. Exactly. Yeah.
The other thing I should point out is the graft. Okay, so all of our fruit trees are grafted onto rootstock wood. You can kind of see how it has a bit of a wiggle here. So this is a budded fruit tree, just like that. And it's actually going to be healing this graft area. So when you do plant this tree, it would be best to point this open wound area north, which in
Okay.
this case is that direction, because you don't want the sun to hit it.
Oh.
The sun is going to
okay.
like stress it out and
Okay.
perhaps like almost crack it open.
All right.
You don't want to add any stress to this little graft that's working on healing itself.
Interesting. So kind of protecting it from the sun.
Yeah, protect it from the sun. Another great thing to do would be trunk paint, if you're familiar.
Yes, actually my orchard has a whole bunch of trunk paint. Everybody always asks me, what is that white stuff on your trunks? So tell us about that. Can you talk more about that?
Trunk paint, for the longest time, I thought it was maybe to keep bugs off, which it kind of has that advantage, or maybe it's just for the aesthetics, but
Right.
truly it's sunscreen for trees.
It's like putting white sunscreen on your
Totally,
nose.
yes.
Yeah.
And you can make your own trunk paint if you use interior latex paint in a light color and cut it 50% with water.
Okay.
We also sell it here in like the perfect bark brown color if you'd like.
Which is actually on my to buy list today.
There you go.
Because I have all this white trunk paint, which to me, growing up here, it's totally normal. But I think that when you see it online, or on videos, it's like, what is that white paint? So
Yeah.
I think I'm going to paint it a little bit darker.
A little bit darker?
Yeah.
Not so shocking.
So when would you paint the trunk paint? Right when you planted the bare root? Or...
That's what I like to do. You need to do it before the weather gets really hot. It's
Okay.
usually easiest just to do it all in one go, though.
Okay. All right.
And then you would want to paint, a lot of people think, oh, I'll just paint just right here.
Yeah.
No, you actually want to paint as far up as the plant needs to be shaded. So right now, say you planted it like this. There's no branches on this side currently. So you might actually consider putting the paint up a little bit farther.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Lots of sunscreen.
And if you wanted to do like a fruit bush, like the backyard orchard culture style where your tree is just so small, and you were to cut it here when you plant it,
Yeah.
with that scary first cut,
Yeah.
you would paint this entire stick, and the
Wow.
buds will actually push out through the paint.
Can we talk a little bit more about that fruit bush? Because that just sounds so interesting to me. So could you do that with any one of these, or are there only particular kinds?
You could do it with almost any. Some of the caveats being, if you have a really big caliper, it's possible that these buds are no longer viable.
Got it.
The smaller trees are more conducive to that being successful.
Okay.
And then certain trees, let me think here, like walnuts, probably not.
Okay.
It's going to be more like your stone and your palm fruit.
Like peaches, nectarines.
Yeah. The really easy options are going to be trees that grow a little bit smaller, or I shouldn't say smaller, but less vigorously.
Okay.
So like a plum and a cherry, those just get so big so fast.
Yeah.
So you can keep them small, but you're going to have to be a much more assertive pruner to make that happen.
Yeah. I don't think I'm the answer.
Oh, you're on your garden every day. I'm sure you could do
I
it.
know, but I'm telling, I have fruit trees to prune right now, and I'm so nervous to prune them. I was telling Aileen that I haven't done it yet, and it's the end of January.
And I told her, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
You gave me your list of trees. It's going to be okay.
It's gonna be fine. It'll be fine. So how fun! I just think that that's so neat, just to plant something, cut it off at the knee, and then kind of let it grow into a bush, and then it will fit somewhere.
Yeah.
And if you get something with really beautiful blossoms,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest bang for your buck.
I mean, we have certain peach varieties that are valued for their beautiful blossoms.
Oh my.
So we have one that's, I believe, 4 varieties, and the combo is called Showy Blossoms because it's going to be such an amazing show in the spring, and it gives you amazing fruit.
I swear, every time I come here, my truck is full.
So I just want to tell you guys one more thing. When you get this home and you go to plant it, you're going to dig a very shallow but very deep hole for this particular tree. This is your top root right here.
Okay.
And you want to just plant it about 2 fingers above that top root.
That's it, huh?
That's it, yeah.
Okay.
If you were to say plant it and bury it a little deeper, you're going to have all sorts of problems and probably lose the tree, to be honest.
Oh no.
But you want to dig the hole deep or wide, but only probably, what is that, like 8 inches
8
deep?
inches, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's easy planting. So we would just look for the very top root and then 2 fingers above that.
Yeah.
That's pretty easy. Would you amend the hole with anything?
Yeah, it depends on the soil you're working with. In Napa, we usually recommend some sort of organic material, 50-50 with the native soil.
Okay.
Your goal is, you're going to have these really, like, hopefully a giant root system. As far as the branches reach out and even farther,
Okay.
you can't amend that far. So you need to get these roots used to your native soil.
Got it.
So don't plant it in like pure planting mix. Definitely never potting soil. People make that mistake. You want to do a 50-50 mix so that when it hits the clay in this situation, it thinks, oh, that's familiar, and it keeps going out into
it's happy. It keeps going. Okay, Eileen, we got the berries. Look at how cute they are.
They are pretty cute. So I could also see why this would be intimidating to someone because you're buying a stick.
It's
like,
a
what's
stick.
going on here?
It's a stick. Yeah.
But you got to just believe. Because berries, can almost be weeds, right? They kind of take over, maybe, but not if you do it right.
Right.
So yeah, if I were to come up to here and know that I really wanted this royalty purple raspberry, this is a fun variety that actually has pink flowers, a little bit more ornamental. I might look for like the biggest cane.
Okay.
And then I would start kind of wiggling things to see one that's like really, I don't know, like this is kind of the biggest one. So I'm going to pop it out and see what's attached to the bottom.
What are you looking for when you're wiggling? You're looking for it to be...
I want it to be pretty, like feel like it's connected to something down there.
Got it.
Because it's all about the roots.
The root
It's truly
system.
all about the roots.
Yep, it's the root
So
system.
this here, let me see what's going on.
Woo! Oh yeah.
It's kind of like bobbing for apples, or like what's that game at the fair where you're like,
That's
what am
it,
I
bobbing
gonna
for
get?
apples.
Anyways, this is actually a good example too of some new roots that are growing. See
Nice.
these white
Oh
ones?
yeah, how fun.
So ideally you want them when they're truly dormant. So this is technically not dormant anymore
Okay.
if it's got these little white roots coming
yeah,
out.
yeah.
But this is not going to be half bad. Raspberries are super resilient.
Okay.
So this is something you would plant. Depending on the variety, you might need to trellis a raspberry.
Oh, how fun.
And then you also have to figure out if it's something that you cut to the ground in the winter, like you almost mow it, or if you take out the old wood and let the new wood come in.
Like go in and selectively prune.
Yes. The raspberries I grow are the raspberry shortcake raspberries.
Oh yeah.
They're dwarf. They're 3 feet tall.
Oh,
they're
nice.
thornless. They look so cute in a pot, which is how I have it.
How fun.
Those are really fun.
How fun. All right, do you have any other berries to show?
We have all these berries over here. So these berries are not technically bare root. They are in what we call sleeves.
Okay.
4 inch by 4 inch by 9 inch here.
Okay.
And they are fantastic. Lots of different varieties of blackberries, blueberries. We even have figs and pomegranates.
So I guess we can grow blueberries pretty easily.
Yeah, you and I?
I was always worried about the chill hours for blueberries.
Okay, so there are northern high bush and also southern high bush varieties.
Oh.
And then there's stuff even beyond that. You don't want a northern high bush probably.
Okay.
We only sell southern high bush and then other varieties that are good for this area.
Interesting.
But it's totally possible to grow blueberries. I do say that blueberries are usually the most expensive berry to get into.
Okay.
Because in order to do it well in Napa, you don't plant them in the ground, you plant them in a pot, and you want actively decomposing soil. So you have to do a 3-part mix of peat moss, small bark, and acid planting mix. Now you're $150 deep between your pot and your soils. And then to top it off with blueberries, you have to buy 3 different varieties for the cross-pollination to get maximum berries. So, woo! But if you love blueberries,
Yeah.
like I did, it was my Christmas present to myself a couple years
Oh,
back.
how fun.
It's so much fun to just like pick blueberries from your own
Yes.
backyard, and you get so many more than you think.
Really?
And I don't know if you've ever, I mean, everyone's had that experience, right, of buying a carton of blueberries where they're just expensive, and then you get home and they're just
not that
and
good. Or when you accidentally get
Like-
one that's old and bad, and then you can't get that taste out of your mouth.
It's a nightmare. Yeah. So the ones you grow in your backyard, they're just always amazing.
Yes.
They're just so
Yes.
good.
So sometimes the work is worth it. Sometimes
Yes.
the money is worth it, but you got to know what you're getting into, basically. All right, and then we have blackberries and raspberries here. They really do grow as weeds. In Davis, where I live, there's, all these walkways and green belts and stuff like that, and there's literally raspberries
So
growing.
those are going to be like the Himalayan blackberries.
Oh,
probably.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
These are not going to be nearly like that.
That's probably a good thing, because they
actually-
go crazy.
Yeah. Every blackberry we're selling this year is thornless.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Not on purpose. It's just the way it happened. But
Interesting.
yeah, much less vigorous.
And then we have fig trees over here.
yes, we got fig trees.
Very nice.
This is again where you just kind of have to believe that this is going to be a big, beautiful tree at some point, because you're just buying a stick. Figs, I usually say, are the easiest fruit tree to grow. If you like figs, try this first, because it's going to take sun or shade. It's going to take really heavy wet soils or really dry soils.
Right. Yep.
Very easy.
And they grow fast, and the leaves are gorgeous for decorating.
I mean, even the bark in the winter,
yeah.
you can just have a beautiful thing. You
Yep.
can put little
I have
twinkle
a
lights on it.
giant fig tree in my yard right now, and it's beautiful. There's no leaves, but it's beautiful. It's really pretty.
Smooth bark.
Well, this is gorgeous. So tell me again what you call this area.
So these and these little containers are called farmers market favorites. It's
Okay.
all types of kind of prized fruit you'd find at a farmer's market, but not really at a grocery store.
Right.
But I have to say, when you grow it in your backyard, it's even better than the farmer's market.
Totally. Because you grew it. You're
Well,
proud of it.
I mean, it's not. I'm not even just saying that. Like, have you ever grown a potato?
no, I have not.
Oh my God! You
Really?
Think, you think potatoes are fine, right? And then you grow a potato.
Yeah.
It is the best potato you've ever eaten. It doesn't make sense, but it is.
Okay, next video Eileen's doing is how to grow potatoes. She's just going to teach us everything. Well, Aileen, I love this. This is so fantastic. Really, really interesting to see. I mean, again, I've been to garden centers and I've seen the sticks and kind of walked right past them because I didn't know what to do with them, but it's kind of good to hear from you, from the
Yeah.
expert.
And if you're interested, if anyone's local, I should say, and wants to learn more about growing berries and grapevines in particular, we have a class coming up February 4th with the famous Ed Livo.
Tell me who Ed Livo is.
Oh man, he has been around for decades. He is an edible landscaping specialist, especially in small spaces.
Okay.
His enthusiasm and knowledge knows no bounds. I think I can honestly say, like, any fact I have spouted off about fruit trees or berries today, I learned from Ed. Like, he
Interesting.
is the guy.
And he's going to be here.
He's going to be here at Van Winden's February 4th.
Oh, I wish I could come.
Yeah.
I have another thing I'm going to, which I'm really excited about too, but that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
You all should film it for your YouTube
we might
channel.
try doing that. Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
possible.
For those of you who don't know, Van Winden's now has a YouTube channel.
Yes.
And it's very, very good. Just like your Instagram. Well, thank you again. I love coming here. I love learning everything from you. And again, I'm spending all my money.
Sorry.
All right, I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.